So we are live. Welcome everybody to the very first episode of The Other Side, hosted by myself, Zero Alpha, and Rose Jackson.
Hello.
Yeah. I'll just give you a little bit of context about what we're going to be doing. We want to try and spotlight or showcase some of the artists from our part of the world, being Australia, New Zealand, Pacifica, Oceania, I suppose is the broader term. And it's a great honour today to have our very first guest, which is Beats at Wide Awake Beats on Twitter, and the mastermind behind the Here and Now experience. But before, we're just going to do a little bit of a format before we get into the interview proper. We're just going to do a little bit of news or what's been happening for us, and a artist pick of the week. This week was really cool. We ran an event called Hens 11. It was just a little initiative of something I thought up, and we ended up having 11 artists nominate 11 other artists, with the view to try and help spotlight some up and comers. And yeah, mad success. It was really cool. We had prizes and generated around about 330 sales. So yeah, that was a massive highlight for me. What about you?
It was so great. Like, you just pulled it together so fast. And it was amazing. A great new initiative to spotlight emerging artists, because there's so many of them coming to Hen at the moment that I think it's getting harder and harder to get your voice out on Twitter. Like, for me, I just know I'm missing so many new artists coming, and I spot them, and
yeah,
so it was awesome.
I know for like my nominated artist, IGAN, he sold out, which was so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. What about you, Rose? Yeah. What's your highlight of the week been?
It's been a busy week. I think my highlight, I'm keeping on doing the vertical crypto residency, and I've been chatting to some mentors, and that's been really great. And chatted to Vanessa Coleman, and so she's got a show coming up this weekend, and I'll have a few artworks up in that one, which will be nice. I know you were in the last one.
Yeah. I mad respect and much love out to V. Yeah, she's probably like the first sort of, well, she's an artist herself, but runs a gallery, reached out, which was really cool. Lovely to deal with, which was real good.
Yeah. And also doing that same thing of really trying to highlight emerging artists. I think specifically Hiket Nunk, she does, doesn't she?
Yeah, exclusively on Hiket Nunk.
Okay.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's my highlight. Nice. And getting a new computer. That was really exciting, because I made crypto money.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Yeah, it's been a pretty cool couple of weeks for everybody, I think.
Yeah,
that's cool. What about you, Beats? Any highlights of the week?
Let me think about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sorry, I put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, you didn't give me that question beforehand, man. I've got all your questions listed out, and I've got answers. I'm just going to read them today. I think I'm just like really excited by I think like what happened in the last 2 weeks. You know, that just this huge surge, like you mentioned, of just it felt like there was like this energy like radiating from Twitter. It was really strange. It's just like people are going nuts. What's happening? And everyone was making sales, and I mean, it's cooling down now for sure. It's just this real, like, you could see this potential of all this investment that we put into one another, you know, and then seeing that pay off, just kind of, it's really radiating. But also, I think the object for object, I spent like way too much time last night. That's why I sound probably so groggy, just watching Viker's tool, watching things pop up and then buying it. yeah, that was just yeah, that was, yeah. I look forward to like the next couple of days of that kind of kicking off and continuing. Gosh, it's addictive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then we'll kick into this interview proper. I came across Beats sort of randomly on Twitter. I'm a bit of a fan of people doing projects a little bit out of the norm. I myself like to do works sort of long play, I suppose. And I came across the Here and Now experience. I think it was the first one. And I was just blown away about here's a project that is not only live, it's including all different types of disciplines. So I ended up reaching out to Beats and just saying, you know, man, this is really cool. And I was lucky enough to be featured in the second Here and Now, some of my art in the lobby. So yeah, Beats, I'd love to hear sort of your history, what you've been getting into leading up to the crypto art space, and how you go about making the Here and Now experience.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say to both of you, you know, I've since the start of me joining, I suppose Hicket Nook, I've always followed you both so closely, and it's funny to talk to be asked questions because I kind of want to ask questions to you too. Like I want to know all about your process, because they're both of what you do is so unique and it has such a distinct style. You know, it's anyway. I guess we can talk about that later. But I just want to say that, like, I love your work so much. Why can't
Yeah.
this be a discussion? Okay,
Thanks, man.
yeah. So I suppose if I went back a little bit, before crypto, I mean, I'm a filmmaker sort of by trade. Like that's kind of what I studied and what I've been doing for like 15 years. And if, never worked for anyone. I've always been a freelancer. So I've always kind of had to have that, I guess, entrepreneurial kind of spirit, right? Like how to promote yourself and how to get work and you know, moved from being kind of on set, you know, assistant to being a gaffer to editing. And for the most part, I was an editor. And then but always loved directing and always directed stuff on the side, like my own personal projects. And then started directing for the last 6 or 7 years. And then about 3, 4 years ago, I moved into game engines. I've always loved sort of emerging tech, and for the last 15 years, I've put on like theater shows that involve technology. So it's kind of, you know, I was putting computers together when I was like a kid, you know, so I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to computers and all these things. You know, I just love mixing things up a bit, and all these things kind of merge together. And you know, if I'm going to make a theater show, why don't I throw tech in there? And you know, one show I did, which I'm really proud of, it was years ago, it was like 2011, was this theater show. It's a one-woman show where the audience brought their mobile phones into the theater show, and the show was synced to videos that were shown on their phone. So you would get, and the whole thing was about this woman using her mobile phone in like this monologue, but instead of just watching her talk, you would see everyone she's like talking to and interacting on her phone. So it's kind of like this, you know, kind of multi-experience thing. So it's like that, things like you can see, like things like that I've always been fascinated by. And so since getting into game engines, which is essentially, you know, real-time engines, which is essentially how they make video games, and more recently how filmmaking, like Mandalorian and stuff like that, is made. I've really dived deep into that, and I feel like all my kind of experience with film, with theater, and now with game engines is sort of just merging into this kind of thing that makes sense for virtual experiences, and then jumped into the crypto scene or on Hicket Nook. And well, actually, sorry, I'm rambling, but I'll finish with this.
Go on, man.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
So you know, for the last year, I've been like doing something very specific, which is live film experiences. and that is films that are made, performed, shot, and edited live in real time for audiences. And that's done. That these projects have done quite well, with good audience, going to some really great festivals. And I was thinking, like, because they're all bigger projects. They're all like, one was a 45-minute documentary with refugees around the world filming, their own stories, and then I'm editing that live on the go. And another one was In the Shadow It Waits, which was this live horror film, which was, with actors around Australia performing, and filming themselves essentially live, but it looked like a film. And I was like, I want to do something smaller. I want to do like a short little 5-minute experience, 10-minute experience, something that's more kind of dreamy, a little bit more observational. Doesn't have to rely so strong on a narrative, because it's hard work to create these things, to make them look like a film. So I was like, I just want to do something small, and I found that all these photographers online who were keen on kind of just filming something interesting based on a theme, and then I'd get that input and edit that live. So it's like a 10-minute sort of observational documentary. And then at the same time, I was like looking into crypto, and I was like, Hicket Nook is crazy. Maybe I should just put like a free ticket or something, just see what happens. So I created this little video ticket thing, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just posted it, and I'm glad I put royalties on it. I didn't even know what royalties like were back then. I was like, I looked at someone else's project. I was like, oh, they put 15%. I'll put 15% royalty. That makes sense. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They like sold out last week, and I was like, do I have royalties on this? I don't even remember. And then like I think I did 30, and then they which is also a smart move. I didn't realize like limiting them to 30. I just went 30 as an arbitrary number. I'm glad I didn't do like 1,000.
Yeah.
And then they got picked up like in like 5 minutes because it was free, and I was like, holy crap! I've got like an audience of 30. I was expecting maybe 10 people to come, and suddenly all these people were like my audience, and that hooked me straight away, because I was like, well, back then I wasn't aware that they were just doing it because it was free, right? I was like, oh, my people love my idea, but the reality is probably 90% just saw a free thing, but 10% of those
10%.
people, yeah, and that's it. 10% came, right? Yeah, and they came, and they saw the show, and I was like, and they loved it, and they were really complimentary about it. And then I was like, oh, I should mint this. And then I minted it on a Rarible.
Really?
I minted the experience in Rarible, because I had another previous, like, this refugee project, profit, this charity project, and that's all I knew. And then Guna, who is really great, he's supported me so much on Hicket Nook. He wrote to me and he was like, why did you put this on Rarible? Like, we're on Hicket Nook. Okay. And then I took it off and put on Hicket Nook, and that's kind of how it all started. Sorry, that was a long ramble.
No, that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great. No, yeah.
But that's it. You don't need to know anything more about me. I'm done.
Okay, that's it, people. Thanks for coming over the first episode.
It was really great.
Yeah.
No, Rose, tell me more about that.
Yeah, Rose, you jump in.
What? Yeah, look, I think I really think that people are really drawn to what you're doing. It's really different and exciting. And yeah, well, I think we're here to kind of chat about where it's gone after you luckily minted with royalties. What's the next steps, or maybe tell us kind of what happened with the here and now experience, and what's been happening the last few weeks with these tickets.
Yeah, that's kind of, I suppose that's been a real huge kind of surprise. So I created this experience, here and now, which was 3D kind of immersive experience where you can go inside and see all this art and buy art, And like I said before, it's kind of this is just a combination of all these things that I've been working towards, or rather the things that I enjoy. And I've always loved collaboration. It's something that really inspires me and drives me, and I just don't like solitary creations. I mean, everyone's different. It's just not something that drives me. And
Mm.
and then just created this 3D world and put artwork inside. And I wanted it to be really different. I didn't want it to be a like a gallery. I wanted it to have a real mood and aesthetic to it. Um, Something that's a little bit more theatrical. So if you imagine going to things, I mean, I'm very inspired by site-specific theater installations. It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen, which is probably everyone's favorite thing if they've seen it, is Sleep No More, which is this immersive theater show by a company called Punk Drunk. I mean, they're the top of the game. They basically defined the genre, and it's in New York, and you walk around this giant warehouse visiting these rooms, but it is the most unbelievable experience. It feels like you're in a film.
Wow.
And sorry, kids screaming in the background, and it's I'm really really inspired by that type of experience, and that's kind of what motivates me in creating 3D experiences, is that they, like every room is a surprise. Um, every kind of corner, there's something to discover. And that's sort of my larger ambitions for I suppose my art, is to create really complex 3D experiences where every time you come back to them, you'll get something new. Because so it's not just like walking into a space where there's art. It's like, why don't you walk into a space that is inspired by the art? I, if there's the capabilities to do it, then I feel like it makes sense, rather than just having sort of this plain room where there's a piece of art.
Mm.
We can do things we can do anything with technology, with real-time game engines, or 3D experiences. Why not take the art and then go, what would the room, like if this art bled, how would that bleed into this room? What would that like Mary Poppins moment be? And kind of, and that's kind of what motivates me in working with artists in creating this experience, is that I get to take a piece of art and be inspired and create a room around that. And you're going to see that much more in the next edition, actually, because this is something that I've been, because of the ticket sales of the last one, I'm actually able to hire a 3D modeler and work from the ground up. Whereas last time I created the experience and then found artists and then kind of rejigged the experience, so that it had a little bit more feel of each artist in every room. So I'm really excited about that. And what happened in the last project, edition 2, which was just a complete surprise, and it's kind of defined the way forward, for here and now, is Schwembilder, who created the tickets for the experience. He blew up about, I don't know, a couple of weeks after the tickets went on sale, and he was doing like crazy. It still is doing crazy numbers, like $2.2 million on foundation.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm talking to the guy like on Signal, and it's like I don't know how to approach the conversation. I'm just like, dude, like, congrats. and he's a lovely guy. Like, you would never know he was even making any money. And he was so generous to create these tickets. But what happened there was, everyone bought tickets for like 3 TES, and in exchange they got a 101 from Schwembilder, and that obviously, like, their ticket now, or their piece of art, has the evaluation of each ticket now is about 1,000 TES, and people are selling them. So
Yeah.
this is just
I'm
this
one
crazy
of
buzz.
those. I'm one of those people, and honestly, mate, I'm like, you don't know how grateful I am for that opportunity. I know you were like, oh, I'll just give you one, and I brought one anyway just to support the project. But yeah, flipped it for 500 TES. Pretty mind blowing.
It's nuts. It really, and
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't expect that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
well, it all happened really quickly, didn't it? From what I saw, it was just like, things chugging along. And then with his sales dramatically increasing, it just started kind of taking off. And then you very quickly rose to the challenge and created all these rarity scores and all of that kind of stuff. Like, how long was that? Was it about a week took you?
Yeah, it was crazy, and I always find a way to just make more work for myself. It was a part of that, like the middle of that week, where I was like, why am I doing this? Why? But
that was
but
a
I'm glad
that
I
was a
did.
huge undertaking.
It
Huge.
was. I mean, I had to hire a guy in India to like do all the data entry for me because every ticket, because the tickets weren't created with rarities in mind,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Although they do have rarities because of the way it's coded, there is no data for me to pull on. So
Yeah.
they're all visual. So I'm literally like finding the commonalities between every ticket and then listing them, 550 tickets, listing them out, and then adding scores manually.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've pulled up the wideawakeprojects.com site where you've got the traits, and I'm looking. You've got like perfect circle, color, hexagon, triangle, explosion. I think it's a massive undertaking, and hats off to you
Mm.
for getting it together.
Well, the reason why it happened too was because all these secondary sales were happening. It was in that week. It was like really people. I think someone sold one for 1,800 TES. And I
Mm.
was like, where's this going? And also, how random is this? Because it felt really random, and not cohesive. So what I wanted to do was somehow create a place where these tickets can live and kind of be seen together, so that they all collectively have some sort of value,
Mm.
but then also so that there can be some kind of market that is defined by the tickets, and that's kind of where the rarities came in, and I'm glad I did. Although things have slowed down quite a lot on Hen in the last couple of days, the last week, I'd say, pretty much since I think it went down. Sales
Yeah.
have kind of, if you look at the charts, they've dipped quite a bit. People are
Yeah.
probably chilling. I mean, I don't blame them. I needed a break.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, both you, Rose and Zero Alpha, like I know that you're. I was like watching you daily, just going, I'm sold out. I've sold
Oh
out.
man. It was actually really overwhelming. Like, I think I'm only just kind of coming back to a feeling of I don't know, in control. It was, and I think it's probably a similar experience. It sounds like, I think for all of us, just chatting to Zero in DMs and stuff, like it was just really fast. And I guess that's crypto and that's crypto art, isn't it? But I'm not super unhappy that it slowed for a bit, just to
Not
land back on
sustainable.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I've kind of tried to settle into a bit of a groove. I've got two projects going, one on OpenSea, one on Hen, and just trying to slot them in together and not get too overwhelmed by it, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's also cool to see the experimentation with the other platforms. I've seen a couple of people doing it, and to see hen artists still stay on hen. Like I don't think I've ever seen it. The people that I sort of am closer to, move to a completely different platform and then ignore hen.
Mm.
Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like I'll dabble there, but hey, I'm still here. Like I
Yeah.
see a lot of that.
Oh yeah, I'm not like Hen's my home. And I am even contemplating, do I want to continue to mint on Ethereum?
Mm,
Just with the
yeah, it's a
rise
tough
the
one.
rise of Hen over the last month, you know,
And the rise of gas fees over the
yeah.
I thought that's what I thought you were going to say.
Or that it all ties in together, and I'm kind of thinking, you know,
Oh yeah.
what's the point? I don't know. It's something I have to think about. But you know, I've got collectors that are wanting to buy on Ethereum, so you know, I don't want to let them down. And I suppose with the volatility of hen as well, you know, if you're sort of getting into strategies, it's like, oh, you know, do you want all your eggs in one basket? Or,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's smart, and also, you know, when there is this sort of connection between OpenSea and Tezos, as they've been saying for a while now, I think it's really smart to do that, because it's just gonna help you later down the track, and who knows, like, yeah, it's I think I'd like to think that all these connections we've made on Hen and the community that we built, like, that will stay regardless of whatever happens with platforms. You know, there's another platform coming out called Versum, which is really exciting. It's by some of the same guys, and who were the original developers for Hen, and you know, they're teasing people now about this kind of new platform, and that's interesting, because it's like, are they going to take the things that need to be improved on, and but still have that originality of what Hen is, and is that what this new platform could be? I've heard you can still mint on Hen, so it still would kind of work cross-platform in a way, but yeah, it's kind of, you can't just, you need to think of the bigger play, right? Like the
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. You know, like the evolution, where we're going to be in, you know, 12 months time or whatever, and just to see what happens with Hen, and whether somebody else is going to come along. You know, you've got competitive people mirroring the sites, but I don't know, for some reason there's the community and the vibe that's built up around Hen. I think it's going to be a pretty hard thing to replicate and get a massive shift to go to another platform.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting times. Hey, I just want to swing back to the here and now experience, and just, you know, the thing that blew me away about it was the actual vibe, and you know, I remember when I first went in there and doors were opening, and like it was very much like a video game. What are some of your inspirations for that type of vibe? You got any other? Yeah, well, just your inspirations, really.
Well, yeah, I've been doing VR for the last 3.5 years, and for a time, up until I was doing the live film experiences, that was what I did. And you know, I had some really amazing success with my VR projects. You know, I went to like Venice Film Festival and walked the red carpet and crazy stuff like that.
Nice.
And I was really entrenched in the scene, and still am, actually. And there's a couple projects that I was really inspired by in VR, and I think that those projects have really pushed me forward. There's a project, because what VR does so well is, you know, you're able to create these realities that are immersive, and you can bend time, and you can manipulate environments and spaces, you know, that feel extraordinary. And I think that's kind of, there's a project called what's it called? Notes of Blindness, which is one of the first things I ever saw in VR. And it was this experience that was based on a true story of this man. I forget his name. He's a really famous, I think he was like a mathematician or something. A really famous man, and he was losing his sight. And it's this documentation. There's a documentary about it too, of him just recording on a tape, recording his experiences of how is starting to hear things, and how his senses are becoming alive. And the experience is that, like, you're just kind of essentially blind, but then you see visual representations of what he's hearing, like these kind of particle effects that kind of form characters or sounds as they appear. And like, that project just blew me away. I was so like inspired by that project and the possibilities of what you can do in game engines. Aesthetically very different, but do you want me to move somewhere? Is it? Can you hear me? Can you hear the baby crying?
Yeah. You can.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
I'm okay.
yeah.
I'll just move. I'll just move a little bit.
Whatever's
in the
easiest for
room.
you, mate. So it's cool. Yeah, hey, that sounds really cool. I'm gonna have to get you to DM me a link. I'm gonna check it out.
Well, feel free to put a link up in the general chat as well for everyone
Yeah,
to check out.
definitely. Yeah, I think what
I'm on my phone. Yeah,
I
I'm
think
just
what
gonna move outside. So yeah.
I really liked about the here and now experience. Like, obviously, it's not full blown AAA graphics or anything like that, but you totally forget about it, and it's the actual experience and really cool music. Like the lighting was just off the hook, which I think is really cool. Can you
Yeah.
can you run a here and now in VR?
Yeah, you could. It just needs to be ported for it, which would be pretty simple. The only mechanics that kind of haven't been considered for VR is like how to move around, because there's so much space to move around in that experience that I just need to create something where where you just essentially move around with a controller, hotspots or something.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very very possible. Um, the thing. Yeah, the thing with it, I just want to give a shout out to like the music because I feel like the music was so integral, and a guy called Aston Archer, that's his Twitter handle, Aston Archer. He did all the music for it, and we'll do the music for Edition 3, which
Awesome.
is super exciting.
Cool.
And on that, like yeah, I think, because it's built on WebGL, so it's a tricky thing because it needs to work for pretty much everyone's computer, right? So I kind of have to like think about date back. That's not a word. I have to think about like old computers, kind of on like 2012. I think that's my benchmark for computers for this running on. So it has to be like pretty low graphics, baked lighting, which means that the lightings aren't responding in real time to your movements or to action. Not that that matters so much, but yeah, and the project needs to be small. So it's like there's a lot of limitations because audiences don't want to wait like 10 minutes while something loads. So the project, I think, was about 80 megabytes total. So there's a lot of compression going on, and I think people do forget about it because the art is so good as well. Um, that's the thing that drives all this forward is the art on the walls. So if it didn't have that, there would be like no narrative. There'd be no surprises. And yeah, I feel like that's really the through line for everything.
It was really cool. Like, I just remember when you sent me the link to it, and I was a bit like, what's going on? Like, I have to go into something, like, and so I was sitting at the table with my kids, and we like entered the rooms, and it took me a little while to figure out how to open the doors.
Yeah, no, and I got to work on that.
No, that's on me. That's on me.
You just
But
walk into
No,
them.
I had people like writing DMs like, "Is this it?" I'm like, "I'm in this room. Is this it?" I'm like, "No, the door. Open the door. Open the door."
yeah, well, we opened the door, and it was just so cool. And my kids were like, "What is this? Like, what is happening?" And it was just really one of the best kind of gallery experiences I've seen in the space so far. And it was, it was a while ago now, so it was kind of, I was fairly new in the space. But it was just really exciting. It was really cool to see. I'm so excited to see what you're coming up with next.
Oh God, the
Yeah,
expectation.
might be a good opportunity to. I know you're not going to don't want to give anything away, but maybe start talking about the roadmap. I know you've got a pretty extensive roadmap on the website.
Yeah.
Discord channel coming up for ticket holders. Get into that, mate.
Yeah, so the what happened with the Schwembilder tickets, and the secondaries and all that. That's kind of really driven, and this is something I'm becoming very passionate about. Is that it's created this model, which people are aware of. Like, this is essentially the essence of decentralization. But for me, as a creator, someone who's come from film, which is a very stagnant process, right? Like, in film, to make things, you need a producer. You supposedly need a producer. You need grants in Australia. You need government grants. Elsewhere, you need private investment. Otherwise, you can't get things made. And you, as an artist, as a creator, as a director, as a writer, you sign contracts and you give your work away. And I've done that with all my projects. I've created them. I've come up with the concepts. They've been entirely from me. And the only way I could have ever got them made is if I signed them away contractually. And I've had several projects that have done well, and I've made a fee on them, while others have benefited quite a lot. And I've never found a way out of that. But what is interesting now is that it's happened accidentally. Well, maybe not accidentally, because this is probably why the system exists. But the people who have come to my experience have also become my investors and have seen return on their investment. Their return on the investment's been crazy, and it's going to be hard to replicate that going forward, like onto that degree. But that's the whole point, is that, and that's what the roadmap's for, and kind of this large idea I have, which is audiences have come to the experience that they're coming for several reasons. I hope the first one is, hopefully the main one, is because they want to experience the art and the sort of awesome 3D environment, and to kind of create a memory around that connected to this ticket they buy. The other thing which is really interesting is that they're also coming for value. Value can mean different things. It can mean community. It can mean wealth. It can mean experience. But one part of that value is, of course, seeing a return of their investment. And I know right now that that's probably driving most of the interest, which is great. So it's like, how do I propel that? How do I keep that going forward? So now so what I'm doing now with the experience on a whole is taking it away from the fact that you've got a Schwembilder ticket and saying, no, why don't you come along with me on this ride? I'm committed to doing 6 editions. So 4 more after edition 3, total of 6 editions, where your tickets, if you hold them, will become more and more valuable, because each new ticket you get will have traits that are unique and sort of advantageous, because you have older tickets. So you kind of build this kind of rarity yourself by being involved in the project, and collectively, by the end of that, you will have these really unique tickets that are that are unique to you, because you've invested in this idea and this project, and who knows what might happen after that. So it's kind of like that's the model that I'm really inspired by, cutting out the middleman and just saying, if you love what I do and you believe in what I do, then I'll work my hardest to create a return so that you can feed me and I can feed you, and no one in the middle is like feeding off us.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. No, straight up, it is. It's really cool, and it's a dynamic that I'm looking into myself with my own art, and it's great to see. Maybe you're setting the standard of what is possible. So even that's value in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it happens, because the next tickets that come out, I'm really excited by the artist who's making the next tickets. They're going to be awesome. Very different, but then I'm very curious to see what people value the ticket as. Are they valuing the ticket because of this idea that I just mentioned, this bigger idea, or are they going to value the JPEG right? Like I think that's where I'll find out soon where it lies, or maybe not this edition, but maybe edition 4 or whatever. Sorry, Rose,
Mm.
you were going to say something.
No, just yeah. No, I find that interesting that that whole thing just across kind of all crypto art really. Is my work bought for profit purposes or because that person really loved my art? You know, it's just interesting to watch it all play out. But I like that, you know, it's very specific in the way that you're doing it because you will be able to tell a bit more, you know, based on the response to, is it Schwembilder? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love watching people type his name out.
Oh, I don't
It's so many
even try.
variations.
I'm just not
Yeah,
saying
no.
his name because I have no idea how to say it. I've been
It's
saying
like
it
when everyone says
shift
how to
builder.
saying ticket dunk. Yeah.
The artist I'm working with who is creating the tickets, they whenever they write his name, it's just like it's just like starts with an S and then it's just ASDASA, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just an interesting I guess it's a bit of a social experiment, isn't it? But I think
Yeah.
that you'll have a lot of people on board for the experience because it is exciting and it's different. And look at I've got one of the tickets and I had it up for sale when everything was going crazy and I thought, you know what, I'll just I don't need it to sell right now. I'll just hold on to it. And come along for the ride, I think. And I think that a
Yeah.
lot of people will have that same kind of desire and oh my gosh, sorry, the garbage truck's here and I forgot to take my bins out.
Run.
Quick. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit sort of disappointed that I haven't got the ticket anymore because you have got so many different values on so many different levels, you know. And I don't think for anybody who's listening and don't really know the project, the actual catalyst of it is that there were rooms with live events happening inside. You had a performance dance, you had a movie, you had is it Lawrence Fuller? Yeah, him performing live, and that's just another level altogether as well. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah, that was
seeing it
the
happen much.
yeah. Yeah, it's that part of the crypto world, it just doesn't exist that much. And it's pretty simple, I think, the reason why it doesn't, and that's because you can't mint something that happens live while it's, you know what I mean, like you can only mint it afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's which is totally fine because you can just literally mint it afterwards. But there is a huge risk in it as well. And you know the first time we did it, like when we launched it, the live, we had huge problems with the live aspect of it, and you know I'm okay to admit that it's something that was highly ambitious, and it sorted itself out, you know, in the end. And this isn't a project that was only experienced like on one day, right? It's like it lives there for like a month until the next edition comes along. But I'm really excited by this idea of coming into a virtual space, and watching live experiences. I think that's something that is untapped, and also as an experience, it just brings you into the moment. And it's this really interesting connection that happens with you, the space, and knowing that this is something that's living rather than, you know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really does. Hey, I know you've got other projects on as well. Now, this is another name I'm not going to try and pronounce because I don't want to butcher it. But if you could
Yeah. Go
pronounce
on. I really would love to hear you say it. I think you'd get it right.
Hold
It's
on,
not.
I
It's
need
not.
to I need to look at it for a second. It
Oh,
is
that's okay.
because
I don't want to put you on the spot.
no, it's fine. Niz Nizoban,
Oh, it's close. Yeah, Nesnuban. Nesnuban.
Nesnaban,
Yeah, yeah.
Nesnaban.
It
Yeah.
Nesnuban. Yeah, it basically means in Japanese it means like the night wake, um, like waiting up all night, basically. Um, the yeah. So my partner, she's from Japan, and we we um, we were watching a film one night. I'm going into the backstory without being asked. I'm here. I'm going to continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We were watching a film called Personal Shopper, and if you've seen that film, Christian Stewart, it's an awesome film. But it's all about ghosts, but done in a kind of very smart way, barely seen kind of thing. And we were talking about death and rituals and kind of and she was talking about this ritual that she does and that she's done with her grandfather, which is this. It's beautiful. It's when someone dies, you basically spend the night with their body in a room, and you light incense, and you have to stay with them for the whole night, and you have to make sure that the incense doesn't burn out. And the idea is that the incense smoke guides the spirit to sort of the afterlife. But it's
Yeah.
this really meditative kind of moment where you reflect, and this is based on what she's told me, right? You reflect um, on your time with them, and in many ways say goodbye. And it fascinated me because I I'd recently lost my grandmother, and I know that I just didn't have. I was in a different country. I wasn't able to go to a funeral. Things were just impossible for me
Mm.
to go, and it was just really kind of sad knowing that I never had that moment. And I thought, what this could be a really interesting way for me to I don't know, to kind of process that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think I realized that at the time, but it's something that came out afterwards. And so what it is, it's a short film essentially, done in 10 chapters, and it's this older Japanese woman played by Meiko Kaji, who's this legendary actress. Basically Kill Bill was inspired by her films of the 70s, and she's sitting there with her deceased husband, and she's just kind of remembering their life together. But things aren't all as they seem, and through the night you hear these memories, and it's a very still and quiet film. And I've
Mm.
released 10 of those chapters. I'm releasing a chapter each week on Foundation, and I've released 4 up until now.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
beautiful
right.
it's a beautiful piece. Go ahead, Rose.
Thank you.
No, no, yeah, just so how long are the chapters?
They're about a minute. I'd say like on average about a minute, which is just pushing. And this happened by
Yeah.
chance. Like I didn't create this to release in chapters on on the blockchain. It just so happened to be written that way, and I'm pushing the limits of what is possible in terms of file sizes.
Yeah.
Because you're only allowed 40 on Foundation, and I'm so glad that these chapters aren't 2 minutes, because otherwise
Yeah.
they look terrible. And it's shot on 16 millimeter film, so it's like it's like it's just like stabs in the heart if I see
Yeah.
compression on something that I'm essentially selling to
Yeah.
collectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a point about that is, and it's something I struggled with at the start was, I'm doing everything in 4K resolution, writing 6-minute soundscapes, and then I was like, I got 40 meg to play with, and it was a real struggle. And since then I've kind of, which is limitations are cool because I've had to adjust
Mm.
my workflow and the way I do things, and it actually has been really cool to get things down to really small sizes, but still create an impact with it.
Your
Mm.
stuff is so detailed. Like it looks great considering the size limits that you have. Are there still
Yeah.
4K mints? Like there must be, right? You still mint them at 4K?
It depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
The latest stuff I'm doing, because I've just gotten into learning how to do GIFs, and
Mm.
GIFs, I think it's maybe because it's kind of older. it doesn't like big files. Photoshop was crashing. I was trying to feed it 480 frames at 4K. And then the other thing I had to get used to was, because I'm so used to working in 60 frames per second, like with GIFs, you have to chop it down to like 30 or 25. So that was another thing. But yeah, so the good thing about Hickey Nook was they raised their upload limit to 100 meg. So it has enabled me for my MP4 loops. They're in 2160 by 2160, which is really cool. So I've got a lot of plans to keep pushing high res MP4s. Yeah.
Well, it blows my mind that a platform like Foundation still has a 40 megabyte limit when you know they're making so much money off their artists with their 15% commission. Think about 15% of everything they've made with Fem Builder.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, increase your fucking size limits.
Yeah. It is interesting, isn't it, that this, and not to get into all the platform stuff, but, essentially, like, all right, it's annoying. A hand is broken a lot of the time, but there's this constant push forwards to improve, to get better. And yes, it is making money, but nowhere near the kind of Foundation money. And they really pride themselves on this platform and the way that it looks and the collector experience and stuff. It's not about the artist experience, I don't think,
Yeah.
because there's
I
so
agree
many
with that.
limitations on what you can mint there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And
They
also
need to get it together.
I think they do. Yeah, they really do. Because it is such a beautiful site, and these other platforms, they seem to be catching on a little bit. I think like Super Rare's done that.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it. I kind of stay away from it just because that's just not my world at the moment. And even OpenSea, I don't know too much about OpenSea, but it just seems like they're all kind of pivoting a little bit, and I always wonder like how much Hickey Nook has driven that.
And it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see new platforms popping up as well.
I think just with those limits, I think that might be maybe the next sort of big shift we see, when somebody really does say, okay, you've got a 1 gig limit of what you can mint. I can just imagine what people are going to start doing, and I suppose
you're going to see feature films.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like I really think that the next wave, it just, for me, it feels like it's coming, I'm approached quite a bit by filmmakers coming into the space, just sort of daily on my DMs, just people saying, hey, this about film, asking me about compression sizes on Foundation. There's a lot of that, but I really feel like film is the only one that just hasn't had its day. And it's probably because filmmakers generally are a little bit slower or less willing to experiment in platforms. But I can feel it. Like I just heard Wong Kar-wai is doing a Christie's sale or Sotheby's sale for unreleased footage of In the Mood for Love. That announcement alone is huge for the filmmaking world. It's one of the top films of all time, and he's going to release these little scenes that you can buy. It's it's huge.
I reckon that's pretty cool. I'm a massive sci-fi fan. I imagine owning some outtakes of like Blade Runner or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, it feels like it's coming. It's a medium that makes sense for what this is. You can There's not much storytelling in what we do. I mean, there's storytelling in everything, but there's not like that real strong kind of emotional journey that pretty much only film can do, visually. Well, not the only thing, but it has a strong voice in that, and we don't get that much in the crypto scene. You're not taking on too many journeys within that short attention span. They're just visual hits.
Do you think breaking up your short film into these parts has kind of helped with that short attention span, because it's a thing. It's, I notice in crypto art and stuff, but also just our lives now. The way that we operate, the way that our brains have kind of evolved to use social media and just be on the constant go, like 50 tabs open and doing everything at once. Do you think that helps, that you've got these kind of
100%.
short clips?
No one's going to watch my film if it on any platform. If it wasn't broken up in chapters, because
like
it's
10 minutes
10
is
minutes.
a long time now.
I would.
I think it's 14 minutes actually, but yeah, I mean, some people might, but it's like a 14-minute film. It's not designed for Twitter.
Yeah.
But I mean, you couldn't even play it on Twitter because I think you only like a minute and a half. But
yeah,
but I think it has. Well, one thing I've learned about the project, which I think has played into the strengths of Foundation specifically, is the layout of Foundation is perfect for chapters. If you look at the creation page, it just looks like these are chapters of a film on a DVD thing or whatever. So that was a response to I think I had the idea because of the layout, and also I was like, oh my god, I've got a film. And at that moment, it just was at the Melbourne Film Festival and having its premiere. And I was looking at Foundation. I was like, I've made this film in chapters. This looks like chapters. I should just put it up here. Like, that would be a great way to kind of get the investment I put back in the film, which put my savings into the film. And it's a short film. So I like wrote that off, right? Like, no way in hell am I going to make money off a short film. Like, that's just like impossible. And I've right, with the last sale, I'm kind of just below what I paid for, what it costs. So I've got
So
6
cool,
more
mate.
chapters. So
That's awesome.
it's just never thought I'd make any kind of profit or anything from a short film. It's and as filmmakers, you make these things, you spend your savings on them, you create them because of this idea of being seen and festivals playing in, aware that you got to pay $50 for a submission to get into a film festival, every film festival, to be seen, and hopefully someone will love your project and invite you to make a feature film, which is like 1%, not even 1% of the filmmaking community ever get that opportunity. So it's kind of like all this craziness, and then crypto or Foundation, I'm able to just go, hey, watch it. If you like it, you can own some of it, and if I make money off it, I can make more.
Yeah. Here's
my audience.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
The other cool thing too is, man, like the next time you go to do this, you've learned from this first time of doing it, and I guarantee you'll improve on it. And that's the one thing I'm finding at the moment. Like when we did the Hens 11 event, I pretty much did make it up on the spot. But I've now
awesome.
I've now got a framework and to do it again a lot more efficient.
It was such a great initiative. Yeah, congrats on that. I didn't say well done before that, but thanks, it was really great, man.
Yeah, it'd been floating around in my head for a little while because I love the events on Hen and all that, but I do see, the smaller artists or the emerging artists, they sometimes don't get much benefit out of it, and they end up getting scalped by bots, and then they just flip it. And if the artist isn't onto it about royalties, it's happened to me. I've got one piece, and I think the scalpers have made like 63 tears off it, and because I didn't know about royalties at the time, I only had 10% on it.
Yeah.
And that was just my thinking behind it, was to kind of adopt another artist and bring them up.
Well, what we forget, I think, is that by promoting artists, and especially on these platforms, you're creating a strong network of people that are going to support you, share your projects. They're going to believe in you. That kind of stuff is more than 5 Tezos for a ticket. 5 Tezos for a ticket. I call everything tickets now for an NFT. It's like, it's longevity and it's simple economics too. You're kind of just driving each other forward. You're building demand.
Yeah.
through support. It's kind of a no-brainer, and yeah, it's always a shame to see, I guess, artists who have that mentality. But I don't see it much in Hen.
Yeah, it's a really strong community, and I think that's been the cool thing to watch these last few weeks. You know, we talk about it just kind of going crazy. A lot of us have been, you know, kind of just minting away for months now, you know, and just building that community. And it's really exciting to have some money flow into Hen. But even if that didn't happen, like, it's still the most rewarding experience and building so much for the future. Like, we're just building. And I think that's it, you know, you're doing it on a smaller scale with these tickets as well. It will build a little community around you and the experience, and people who want to come along for that journey, which is really exciting. Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop in. We've hit the hour mark. I don't want to keep us all here for too long, and but I just kind of realised, you know, we're talking about the smaller artists, and we didn't do our picks of the week. So I'll bust into that one, and then I think after we do that, maybe we wrap this one up. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, sounds good. It's been fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just while we've been talking, I've actually been streaming different content, so I'm just going to bring up my pick of the week once I sort this out.
As you bring that up, I'll just say as well, well, you know, not many of us in right now, but anyone listening to the recording can come back and have a look. All the links are in the general chat to Beats' work on Foundation and his Twitter, and I linked Aston, the dude that did the music.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my pick of the week is Barul Matra. He's from Indonesia. An absolutely amazing artist. He's a painter, and just doing these amazing skulls, very dark. You know, I do like my dark art. And I've been
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been following him for a little while, so I just wanted to raise his work. He's on Hen, and I think this piece I'm just going to bring up now. He's just minted on Calamint as well. It's called Untitled Figure.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'll just bring that up full size. Yeah, so
Wow, that's beautiful.
yeah.
So is the digital painting?
No, he's physical painting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I could be mistaken. I think there might be some digital manipulation, but I'm 90% sure it's all just real painting, which is really cool. But
Beautiful.
and Rose, you have got
Something very different.
something very different, something nice and bright and happy.
Okay. Yeah.
Is your kid?
Yeah. He's got a backhoe.
I see the view.
Hang on.
Yeah, Rose's pick is Pipa, and also on Hikik Nook. And I'll just wait for Rose to come back, and she'll be able to fill us in on that one.
Well, he wants to look with me. Do you like them? Are they beautiful? They're nice and colourful. I just discovered this artist yesterday. It just popped up in my Twitter. And it was, I just love it. It's so bright. I'm loving, there's been a really big wave of Argentinians coming to Hiket Nook. Yeah. I help out with the Tezos fountain. So it's really nice to be able to see these kind of waves come through. Actually, in the last few days, lots of Indonesian people coming in. But yeah, it just popped up on my Twitter, and I went in, and they still had a whole bunch of work available. I just find it astounding sometimes. You know, everything's still there for a Tez.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just I'm just trying to escape my children. It's one of those nice Twitter moments of sharing it, and it just Twitter decided that it would have traction. So I think a lot of people got to see their work yesterday.
Awesome.
It's just
That's very
fun.
cool.
I love that kind of
Yeah,
bright,
and that's part of this this show as well. I've got a few people lined up. I want to get IGAN on. He's from the Philippines. So
doing the GAN stuff, isn't he?
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. Again, was in the Here and Now, sort of the new emerging artists section.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. His work is so cool. Like
Hey, Rose, can you just mute your microphone for a second?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Beats, I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you got anyone in particular that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah. I was thinking during that, and a couple of names came up, and I thought, it'd be good to push a filmmaker who has just come into the scene. There's a guy that I actually know, so this is kind of biased, full disclosure, but I have a feeling that he's going to be doing some just crazy stuff. And his name is S.C. Wilson, or Hot Green Sauce.
Oh, I
think his Twitter's Hot Green Sauce.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was part of Hens 11.
Yeah, that's right. He was. Yeah, he was part of Hens 11.
He's done an object for object. Yeah. I noticed it yesterday, and I was like, "Is this guy in Melbourne?"
He is in Sydney right now, or he's actually not in Sydney. He's in a farm in New South Wales right now, somewhere. I don't know where he is. And yeah, so it's kind of a biased pick. So I just couldn't think of anyone in the moment. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
So I'm choosing a mate.
No, we can be a little bit biased. Like his work's really cool. I noticed it going through the object for object. And then recognize his name from the Hens 11 thing.
Cool.
It's it's awesome. Glitch filmmaking.
It's like glitch. He made this film called Miles Away last year, and it's going to have a cinema release. And he poured like all his savings into it, and he's been like really fighting and struggling and coming out sort of with this awesome thing that he made, and it's going to get cinema release. And he's basically taken all this footage that he shot from the film, it's like DV footage, and he's creating these like little mini narratives out of it, and experimenting with glitch. And he did these like clocks, these circular clocks that kind of rotate with film inside. And I know he's just I'm just excited to see more film in the space. And
I've just got one of his clips up now. It's really cool. A lot of skate culture, street culture. It's fresh.
He's a skater.
It's really fresh. It's really good to see.
Yeah, and it looks cool. Like if you go to my collection, or if you actually just go to his collection, don't go to my collection. That defeats the point. go to his creations, and like the layout of it. If you look at them all side by side, it just look great. It's just like cool. It's a cool look in a collection, and I think people are going to gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to load up Hen. The took to look.
said everyone this week.
Everyone. Yeah.
I love it. I love how we're, woo, let's have another event. Hen's fine. It can totally handle this.
Yeah, we'll crash it.
Oh my God, that's so true. We've just come out of like 2 intense periods of Hen being down. Let's do it again.
Yeah. It's a stress test for the new indexer.
Yeah, I pretty much get up in the morning, I put some music on, make a coffee, and the first thing I check is the devs channel, which is those guys are absolute legends, eh?
Oh, they are.
And honestly, it's like another art form. Like these guys are battling hard, and they're genuinely concerned about us artists. We got to get a run in for them, and there's so many different levels. I'm not going to get into it. But hats off to them, I got nothing but mad respect for them.
I wish there was a way to. I'm sure there is like an innovative way to make a documentary about all this.
Dude, that would be killer.
God, how fascinating! Imagine if like someone made a documentary was following all this in real time and was minting the events that were happening, like the conversation with Rafa, to Hen being down to I don't know the biggest sale, or like when KRP I forget how to say it, when he came in and just things went absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like you see the graph and it's just like whoa.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, or for a moment, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Oh,
it'd be
they're
cool to watch.
they're just kind of quiet now. But they still collect everything. But I think because they went through all the secondaries and now they're just collecting on the primary.
Okay.
They're
So what's
just
happening?
another collector.
Right. Oh,
So
that's
it's
interesting.
as far as I know, it's a collective of people that have been in Tezos for a while. And
Okay.
I'm not like, don't quote me on this, but maybe I think like kind of pooled their money and really love art. That's the impression I get. They're actually really here for the art. Oh, my children are back.
Yeah, mine are like banging down the door. I'm outside. I just realized this is weird, but I've been picking weeds up for the last half an hour. My hands are just like black.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm picking up weeds.
It's funny.
while I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah, you're concentrating on talking but doing something else at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Hey, look, we may as well wrap it up. It's been amazing talking to you, Beats. I'm really stoked to get the chance to talk to you about your projects. Got nothing but mad love for you and mad respect because it's so cool. You got anything
Thank you.
you want to add to sort of finish things up?
Maybe just that some dates for what's coming up. So here and now is it's open for reservations. Reservation tickets are up for reservation for current ticket holders till the 15th, and then I'm going to go open to the public, or public, just everyone else, and that'll also be by reservations, and it's all by a form, so that it ensures kind of equal sort of distribution with, because I don't want one person to collect like 50 coins.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that more and more people can actually see this and experience this and share it. So those are the kind of the dates. So look out for the 15th of September when I launch the reserve. Is that, am I saying that right?
I think so.
Reservation.
I know what you mean.
Reservation form.
Yeah.
Just sounds weird. Reservation form.
Reservation.
Maybe it's late.
I worked in hotels for years. You're on it. Reservation.
Reservation. It's a weird word if you keep saying it.
I'd like to make
We
a
should wrap
reservation,
this up.
please.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Rose, if you,
Sounds really formal.
yeah. Rose, you got anything you want to add to wrap this thing up?
Oh no, I'm just really excited. 15th of September is soon. That's in 5 days. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's been really delightful to follow along the last months of your journey, and especially the last few weeks. And I just think you've done a really amazing job of I guess like just rising to the experience and letting it kind of flow organically, and probably a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't see or know about, but it looks like it's just all come together exactly how it was meant to, really.
Thank you. And it's been great to chat to both of you and put a voice to the avatar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and obviously, the feelings go both ways. I love your work, and I can't wait to see where you take things.
Actually, that's what I'm looking forward to, is where everybody starts taking things, which is really cool, the evolution and all that.
Yeah. Totally.
Alrighty, I want to thank everybody for listening in. This is being recorded, so for you crew that are listening back to it, thanks for tuning in. We'll be doing this every 2 weeks. Should be on Friday mornings. Maybe move around a little bit. You never know. But yeah, this has been Interviews from the Other Side.
Have a great day, guys.